philologic genie here in the USA. Help me with that name and tell us what's on your mind.
Yeah, so it's just a little play on words of philosophy, logic, and phylogeny. So, I just tried to keep it light. So I'm calling in because I'm an atheist, and I watched your show, and I saw the poll, and it said, is there anything useful in the Bible? And I have no idea if my take is going to be any kind of original or not. But I would argue that, yes, there is useful stuff in the Bible. Like Proverbs 21:20, in the house of the wise are stores of choice food and oil. But a foolish man devours all he has. Proverbs 21:23, he who guards his mouth and his tongue keeps himself from calamity. There is what I would consider objectively useful stuff in the Bible. Problem is, there's also a bunch of other stuff you have to sift through. So even if the Bible does contain the useful stuff, that doesn't make it the best source for the lessons. And I'm wondering if you guys would agree with that or have any kind of opposition to that.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. The point that I would make when someone comes to me, and one of the reasons why we asked the question in the poll in the chat is, how do you tell what's good and bad in the Bible? What's that open to interpretation? I might think that some of the things you think are good advice in the Bible aren't good advice in the Bible, for example. Probably not, but we are different people. And secondly, if it's not entirely consistent, should we trust it at all? Should we find better options, like you said, or can we allow it with the caveats? Not to get too dramatic, it's kind of like the old, he may have been the dictator of X country, but at least he got the trains running on time. And I'm like, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a fantastic observation there. Yeah, I don't know. So to me, my takeaway is always just like, yeah, but it doesn't matter because there's all the other stuff that's there too. And some people, they might not parse through it to arrive at something that's even remotely compatible with what we would maybe consider the modern morality or whatever that we use today. So that's cool. Christy, do you have any opinions on this?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is just fair to say that, sure, there are a lot of words in the Bible, and some of those words do happen, in fact, to be true. And that is true about a lot of books. And so I would just say that you are allowed to throw the Bible out with the bathwater, because I don't really want to be spending too much time studying any book that is so constantly used to justify genocide and slavery and everything else. If you find some sort of value in reading something like Mein Kampf, then I can appreciate wanting to understand these ideas. I'm also going to be very cautious about considering any of that as a source for my morality or as a way for me to operate in the world. I mean, frankly, just finding a somewhat newer book and considering it on rational grounds rather than this notion that every single word is perfect and inerrant, and if not perfectly inerrant, then at least somehow coming from a perfect God. How to square those things is another issue for another time, but it's really hard for me to take it seriously anytime somebody quotes a passage from the Bible as a source of morality, in the same way that it would really bother me to see some philosopher quoted when they happen to be right about something and terribly, terribly, disgustingly wrong about so much else.
Sure. I can agree with that. And then I would also just like to empathize with the funeral experience from that super chat. I was at a Lutheran funeral recently, and I remember distinctly feeling that exact same way, that they spent like 5 sentences on the family and the life of the deceased, and then a lot more time trying to talk about Jesus. And I was like, what is the purpose of this? This family paid for this. Why? But that's it. Thank you guys for the great conversation.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Yeah, have a great day.
Yeah, I was trying to skirt around that God wins law, land will moan, and you just jumped both feet on it, man. I admire your bravery.
I'll take that on, sure.